Hello dear students, welcome to economics class. I hope all of you are doing well. So students, in this video I shall be continuing with chapter 3rd, that is money and credit. So in the last video I explained you about formal and informal credit, who gets what. Now in this video, in this session, I will be explaining you the last topic of this chapter, and the last topic is self-help groups for the poor. So this is the last topic that I am going to deal with in this chapter. So students, in the previous video I explained you about the dependence of poor households on informal sources of credit. We saw that mostly the poor household, that means I remember I told you that 85% of poor households, they are dependent on informal sources of credit, and only 15% of them are dependent on formal sources or formal sector. Now why this is so? Why they are dependent, or why they are more dependent on informal sources to obtain credit? The first reason is that banks are not present everywhere. They are not present everywhere, and even if they are present, then the poor people, they feel more comfortable to take loans from their relatives or from their neighbors or from money lenders. Why? Because they know them personally, so they feel more comfortable. So they go to the informal sources in order to obtain any loan. Also students, they are more comfortable to go to the money lenders or traders because they can approach them without paying the previous loan also. If they have, suppose they have already taken a loan but they have not paid that loan, the repayment is not done, but still again they are in need of some money, so again they can approach the money lender or trader or employer. But this is not in case of banks. So they are more familiar, they are more comfortable with the informal sources. Now students, even though they are very comfortable and they feel very easy to approach the money lenders or their neighbors or traders, but the fact is that they are exploited by them. They are really very much exploited by them. How they are exploited? Because the money lenders or the informal sectors, the informal sources, they charge a very high rate of interest, right? So they are exploited by them. So therefore the poor households, they found a very good solution for this problem. What they did, they organized themselves into self-help groups. See, from the word only you can understand, self-help groups means helping oneself, that is called self-help groups. So what is this self-help group? So basically it is a group of 15 to 20 people or 15 to 20 members, and you know the members, they are usually the known people like the neighbors or the relatives or the friends of the same locality. So what they do, they form a group, and what they are doing in that, they pool their resources, they pool their savings, whatever savings they are having, they collect their saving, like it can be from rupees 25 to rupees 100 or more, means whatever they can do, whatever they can contribute, they are pooling their savings, or they are collecting their savings. And what they do with this pooled savings, and what do they do with the pooled saving? So whosoever is in need of any money, or whosoever needs to be given loan, they can take small loans from the self-help groups. Whatever savings are pooled, whatever savings are collected, from those savings, whosoever is in need of money, whosoever wants loan, they can take loan from that group at very low interest rate. And let me tell you, if the group is regular in saving, means they are saving regularly, then after 1 year or after 2 years, they become eligible for availing loans from bank. They can go to the bank, and in the name of the group, in the name of that group, that self-help group, the loan can be sanctioned. So loan is sanctioned in the name of group, and this self-help groups, they create self-employment opportunities. It empowers women, it makes women more reliable, and also it provides a platform to discuss social issues like health, nutrition, domestic violence, etc. Means whatever social issues are there, that can be those social issues can be discussed in this group. And also the important decisions are taken by the members themselves, like important decisions like the rate of interest, the duration for which the loan needs to be given, to whom loan should be given, at what interest loan should be given, and all the important decisions, they are taken by the members themselves. So this is a very good solution, I would say an excellent solution, because the poor, they were exploited by the money lenders. So what to do? Since they are already poor, and if they if they approach the money lenders, they will charge a very high rate of interest. So the poor will be getting poorer. So the disparity between the rich and poor will increase, and it is actually increasing also. So this is a very good remedy in order to get loans at cheap rate of interest. So I hope that self-help groups are clear to everybody. Now students, let me tell you about the Grameen Bank of Bangladesh. Now what is this Grameen Bank of Bangladesh? This is a self-help group, and let me tell you that this Grameen Bank of Bangladesh, it started in the 1970s as a very small project, and in 2018 it had over 9 million members in about 81,600 villages spread across Bangladesh. Just imagine, it started like a small project. It started as a very small project, but in 2018 it had over 9 million members. And let me tell you that almost all the borrowers, they are women, and they belong to the poorest sections of the society. And let me tell you that they have proved that the poor women, they are not only reliable borrowers, but can start and run a variety of small income generating activities successfully. So I hope that Grameen Bank of Bangladesh is clear to everybody. What is this? This is a self-help group with almost 9 million members in about 81,600 villages and spread across Bangladesh. So I hope that the chapter is clear to everybody. Now students, I hope that all the topics of this chapter are clear to everybody. At first I explained about money as a medium of exchange, that what is the importance of money, what is the significance of money, why money is so important. Without the use of money, things were very complicated, right? I explained you about the barter system. What is barter system? Barter system is a system in which goods and services are exchanged without the use of money. Means in barter system there is no involvement or role of money. So when money was not introduced, when money was not invented, then people used barter system, and before this barter system people used grains and cattle as money. So, and let me tell you that double coincidence of wants is a very important feature of barter system, but that was a very complex process. So money, it eliminated double coincidence of wants, and it created the exchange process very simple. So money is very important, or it plays a very important role in the exchange process. Then I explained you about the modern forms of money. I explained you about coins, about paper notes, then about check payments. That check payment means a digital form of cash. This is a digital form of cash that is kept in our bank accounts. Then I explained you about the banking mechanism, that how bank works. See, one side the depositors are there, and on the another side the borrowers are there. The depositors means the people who have extra money, the people who have excess cash. They deposit their cash, they deposit their money in the banks, they deposit them into the banks, and in return what they get? In return they get interest from banks. And what do the banks do with that deposit, with the huge amount of deposits? The banks use the deposits as loan. They offer loan, they sanction loan to people whosoever is in need, and they charge a high rate of interest on the loans. So let me tell you that the rate of interest charged on loans, the rate of interest charged to borrowers is more, it's high as compared to the interest that is paid to the depositors, and that excess amount is the profit that is earned by bank. That is the income of, that is the main source of income of banks. Then I explained you about the terms of credit. What are the terms, what are the important requirements or criteria that is required to obtain loans from formal sector? The first is rate of interest. Rate of interest is decided, that a fixed rate of interest is there, and on that rate of interest only you will get loan. This is the first requirement. Second is the collateral. Now what is this collateral? Collateral means a security or a guarantee. It is basically an asset. It can be any vehicle, land, building, or anything, livestock or deposits with bank. So this is the second requirement. Third is the documentation. That means you must have all the documents like the salary slip, Aadhaar card, PAN card, and several other documents like the income tax return. So these documents must be present in order to obtain loan. And the fourth point is mode of repayment. That means how you will repay back the loan. You will pay in installment, or you will pay in installments or lump sum. Means whatever way is there, you have to select the mode of repayment. So they make the terms of credit. So I have explained you this also. Then I explained you about the formal and informal sector of credit. Formal includes bank and cooperatives, and informal includes money lenders, traders, big employers, relatives, neighbors, etc. Formal sector is regulated by the central bank, that is Reserve Bank of India, whereas informal sector is not regulated by the government, and as a result of which the borrowers are exploited in the informal sector. So it is important to increase formal sector credit for the development purpose. So I hope that till here it is clear. Then I explained you about SHGs, that is self-help group. So I hope that all the topics of this chapter are clear to everybody. So students, I'll meet you in the next video with the question answers. Till then, please revise the chapter well. Be safe. Thank you so much.